don't want to be attracted to her.
Oh, God. All right.
And
All
her
right.
thighs, but they're making me kind of excited. Because to me...
All right, let's start the episode.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Invincible podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a bi-weekly show where friends get to sit around and talk about all things Invincible, a comic book written by Robert Kirkman. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing the final cover to issue 144. This is the Cory Walker variant that was revealed earlier today. We're going to go over a couple other things, and joining me for this episode is going to be Bill.
Hi, everybody.
How are you doing, Bill?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
No TJ today.
No.
Unfortunately, TJ had a family ordeal that he had to attend to, and we were planning on doing the Super Fight Invincible card game episode, but we're going to save that for next episode in 2 weeks because we want TJ to be here and to be a part of that.
And we can do that in 2 weeks because the final issue is still delayed.
Still a little bit delayed, exactly. Remember, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. If you want to email us to be part of the show or give us any kind of feedback, we always appreciate that. That is theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. I do know that TJ is going to be doing some sort of countdown on Facebook to the final issue. Over on Twitter, I've been doing the hashtag Invincible15, kind of going through major moments throughout the series, things that have happened. Because this is, after all, the 15-year anniversary of Invincible. So it's kind of fun to celebrate that. I actually have some iTunes reviews to go over as well. What's that?
You when you said it, you like pulled your phone out like you were going to surprise me with like a cake or something. Like, I actually have a birthday cake.
Surprise, Bill.
But it's just iTunes reviews.
Yeah, but it's just still exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited because I haven't read them. And I didn't
really?
see them. No.
All right, let's see. Finding them.
How many did we have before? 10?
We were up to
12.
10 stars.
Okay.
I believe it was 10 stars. And that doesn't necessarily relate to how many reviews.
Okay.
Because they don't have to write anything, I don't think. But anyways, we're up to 18.
Wow.
We're up to 18 5-star reviews. And let's see. We have one from, Mike Barrett. He gave us a 5-star and said, this podcast is great and a must listen to any Invincible fan. And then we have one from He-Man Forever. This was, these were both in December, by the way. It says, it's cut off. It says the greatest superhero podcast. And it says, I love listening to this podcast. I found this podcast when looking for an Invincible movie discussions and just now caught up with every episode. By the way, it was worth it.
That's strong words.
I especially love the new reader episodes because I very much related
that guy.
Related to much of their discussions. I first heard of Invincible on the Collider Heroes show back in December 2015 and started reading the following month. For a podcast dedicated to the comic series, I was surprised with the amount of content these guys provided. I may be a new Invincible fan, but I'm glad I finally found a group of people who regularly talk about it. Thank you very much, He-Man Forever. And Bill's just.
Yeah, I'm just joking. I mean, he's listened to every episode, so he knows how I feel about.
Yeah, you just hate that the new readers get all the love.
Yeah, fuck. Because I'm such a narcissist, you know what I mean? So I want everyone to be like, Bill's my favorite part.
And it's fun. That was fun, and the new readers will be back. They will be back. I kind of feel like it's like the end of the Captain America will return at the end of a movie or something like that.
Spider-Man Homecoming
James Bond will return.
Should we call it? Oh my gosh, I have an awesome idea.
For what?
So, because we've done a new reader, right? And where they've read up to the last
that
volume
one
was
that one was called The End Is Near. I was going to call this one The End Is Here.
I think that we should call it New Reader Reboot?
New Reader Reboot? No, that's what we should call it if we do another series, though.
Oh, like have Liz and Britt or someone else read.
I think it'd be cool, and we're going to talk about this more later in the episode, but I think it'd be cool if we did later down the line, maybe introduce somebody else to Invincible and see what they thought. You know, last time it was me with two women who have never read comics really in their life.
And maybe it should be like...
Maybe a guy that's read comics before, but just hasn't read Invincible. So he could bring a different point of view.
He or she.
Or she. Maybe it would be a guy and girl. Like,
yeah.
You know, that was such a fun show to do. And I feel like you and TJ didn't really get to be a part of that and look back on some of those issues.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it.
Maybe.
I like them. Here's the thing. I really like the New Reader episodes. I like listening to them more than listening to our current episodes, which I do.
Well, is that because you weren't a part of them, though?
Yes. But also because it does feel very nostalgic. Like, I
Like, listening to Liz be like,
right.
I bet Omni-Man's the villain. Like, he's definitely going to be his arch nemesis.
It just brings you back to the first time you read it. You know what I mean? Like, at work, I was in a customer's house, and they had The Last Airbender Season 3, Book 3, paused on an episode. And I'm like, and I stopped what I was doing. I'm like, holy shit, are you guys watching Avatar? And one of the guys was like, yeah, I've seen it. He's never seen it before. And then the other guy's face just lit up. Like, so
there's something really awesome about sharing something that you're super passionate about with someone that you know is going to love it. Mm-hmm. You know, like,
I remember watching, well, I think it was Avatar. And I was like, and I was like looking around, and I was like, someone else needs to fucking just witness this with me.
Yeah.
So I get why the New Readers are very popular. You know,
and it's cool for anyone that has just found Invincible something to listen to, because obviously they wouldn't listen to newer issues. They would be able to listen to those and kind of remember.
Yeah.
Or listen along.
Remember what?
I meant listen along.
The 5th of November.
Oh.
Did you know that there's a show on HBO that is about that, and it has Jon Snow in it?
No, I didn't know that.
It's
How long has it been since you've watched V for Vendetta?
not very long.
Oh, really?
It holds up.
It's been easily over 7 years, maybe.
It is very good.
It's been so long.
I think it's actually the Wachowskis brother. I think it's their only other good thing other than The Matrix.
The first Matrix. I'm
'Cause
going to rewatch it soon, I think.
They did Speed Racer,
yeah.
right? And they also
Speed
did
Racer, I've been seeing getting a lot of love. I feel like that has I don't know. It took like a weird turn where a lot of people love Speed Racer.
the end of the movie. I like that movie. Like, I don't. It deserves hate because it's so bad at some points.
Well, it's
but
just
like
the kid,
the action,
it's just the child
right? But
acting.
like the suspenseful parts, like the end race where he's like finally getting his car to start, and he fucking does all the twists and turns, and it's very exciting. But what else? So they did Jupiter Rising.
Yes, which
was
did not see.
bad.
I heard was really bad.
It was really bad. They did that other one, Cloud Atlas.
Yeah.
Which I didn't see.
I remember it wasn't that bad. It was another, like we were talking about The Fountain. It's another one of those kind of movies where it's just
But don't you think that the creators of The Matrix should have other things that are like amazing that make you talk about it like it's The Matrix?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, what they inspired was more
Right. I get it. Because, I mean, they changed cinema.
Yeah.
Like the slow-mo bullet time. But that's how I feel like V for Vendetta was as good as The Matrix. And it still is.
I'm going to watch it again. All right, let's get into some Invincible-related news. And what we call news is sometimes just tweets. But regardless, the
Still
first
news.
thing is going to be a big one. It's the fact that, yes, Invincible 144 was, in fact, delayed. It was going to be... what was it? The 27th, I believe it was originally going to be.
No.
I'm sorry, not the 27th. Sorry, January 24th. That's the Wednesday, yeah. So it was originally going to be January 24th, next Wednesday.
That was the first delay.
No, that was the original. That's what it should have been, yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Because the previous issue was the 20th of
Oh,
December.
yeah. Okay.
So yeah, 1 month would have been the 24th. But then we saw that it was delayed to the 31st for like a few days. We're like, wait, so it only got a week delay? That seems odd. And then the image site got updated, and it was like, boom, February 14th, Valentine's Day, issue 144.
So, do we want to talk about the delay?
This is the way I see it. There's nothing official. There's no official reason given. And when it comes to, I don't know, delays are weird. When it comes to movies, video games, anything like that, delays are always better, right? Think of video games not being polished. I was listening to a podcast. It might have been the Nerds Chatting guys. They were talking about how Justice League, maybe given another 6 months or a year or something like that, could have been fixed. You know, they could have cleaned it up a bit.
The movie?
Yeah.
No way.
I don't,
They had to start over.
that's what I mean. Like they like some things like, and I almost feel like when it comes to comics, it's just weird because it is a monthly schedule. There is this preconceived idea that, hey, this is a monthly comic. Mm-hmm. It will come out monthly. And anything other than that means that it's a delay and it's a bad thing. When in reality, if it's not ready, if it's a video game or a movie, it gets pushed out there because there's so many people that they have to appeal to.
Yeah.
Whether it be producers or just people who have an investment in it, mm-hmm. that they have to please them and they have to get it out to meet deadlines or whatever. And it ends up being bad. And then that's no good either. When it comes to Invincible, and it took all of 2016 of us having delay after delay to kind of, and that was frustrating to deal with, mostly because we do this podcast. Mm-hmm. But I know Invincible readers, and I remember reading online and talking to people. It was frustrating because they would fall out of interest, with a monthly comic if it's not released monthly. And I understand that gets frustrating, and it stinks, again, especially because we do this podcast. But right now, I have volume 11 of Invincible right there, and that's all of the things that were in 2016, all the things that were delayed, and you can read it all right now in its completed form. If all those issues had been released, when they weren't fully finished and maybe not up to the standard that either Kirkman or the editor or whoever mm-hmm. agrees upon, then maybe it would have been, bad. Maybe those issues would have looked terrible and we would have been extremely unhappy with it and fallen off. Mm-hmm. Right now, so it's been delayed not even a full month. It's been delayed 4 weeks. Well, I guess that would be almost that would be almost a full month. Well, the 24th
it's 6 days away from a month.
Yeah. And you know what? It's the last issue. At this point, I just want it to be good. I want it. Obviously, they would have released it if it was ready. It's frustrating because, we assume that maybe they had enough time to finish it, but,
I'm just curious as to know what's not ready about it. You know what I mean? Because Ottley posted that Instagram picture of the end and his thing being finished. Mm-hmm. How long ago was that?
I don't remember.
Is it the same colorists, the same inker? Or does Cory Walker have a different colorist and
inker?
I believe
Nathan Fairbairn is
coloring the entire thing?
Both issues.
It's got to be that then.
I mean,
it's the only thing, because, if the script was done...
But there's still also inking, too. So Mark Morales is inking. You've got the colorist. You've got Cory drawing his stuff.
Right, but Cory Walker got the script probably
even
the same time that Ottley did. So
maybe,
if Ottley finished...
But again, we assume that. What if Kirkman didn't have his final...
So they're not...
Because, all right, second piece of news. On Twitter, Ottley talking to, I believe it was Tommy Loudon, who was on our show recently, confirmed that Cory Walker is in fact drawing the second half and the second issue, because it is a double issue. Maybe
they're not cohesive.
Maybe they're both kind of not standalone, but maybe Ottley's ends and then the epilogue is it's its own self-contained story, and maybe Kirkman didn't nail that yet until a month ago. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. There's too many things up in the air.
Do you think that the story ended with... Because the delay and the amount of the delay makes me think, A, whose fault was it? B, is this actually a delay of one issue? Or did Kirkman... Because Kirkman just wanted it to be like, you can't have this many comics in the last volume plus one. You know what I mean? So maybe he just knew that there was more story to tell, but, called it one issue, even though it's obviously a double-sized issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was announced as a double-sized issue from the beginning.
But we assume that it was one story, right? I bet you, I feel now more confident that this is going to be two different, it's going to end.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I love. And again, we'll probably bring this up later in this discussion, but I love the fact that we can look back after we've read the final issue and most likely say, that's the end of Invincible. And that's the end of Invincible. Like, we have the Ryan Ottley ending and the Cory Walker ending, both of which are not, seconds apart. They're most likely going to be years apart from what we've seen.
From especially now what we've seen.
Yeah. So we know that Cory's drawing the second half, which brings us back to our last episode. And Bill, you're falling behind on our bet. TJ and I
Did I lose another one?
No, it was just that one.
Okay, all right.
We bet that Walker would be drawing the second half. You disagreed. You thought it was going to be throughout. The third news item is the fact that today, on the 18th, the
Cory Walker variant.
Not the Hollywood Reporter. It was
Entertainment
Weekly.
Which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, it was cool.
Right?
Revealed the final cover to Invincible. This is the Cory Walker variant for issue 144.
Which, again, I don't think is a variant. I think it's going to just be, that's going to be the first page of his portion of it.
No, it's 100% a cover. I just think that
I think that's going to be in the comic.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to the cover.
Right. There's a lot to tell from
just that.
From one image of one person standing
on
a page.
We were talking the reaction on Twitter today was fun, and just everybody being shocked and giving theories and everything. Before we get into the Cory Walker variant, there was a couple of things I wanted to talk about. First off, we have a comment that was posted on Podbean, which is kind of like a SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play platform to listen to our podcast. And I had a hard time accessing our Podbean account, whatever. Anyways, so the comment said, what's next for the podcast after the final issue? So I wanted to talk about this briefly because we've been getting this question a lot, and it's a valid question because a lot of people that listen to us might not listen to us after the comic ends. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to bring it up while we have your attention and while we're talking about it. And we'll probably talk about this again during our final issue discussion and everything, just to remind everybody that, hey, we've decided to keep doing the podcast. And
there's a lot to talk about.
There is. And we've been talking about this for a solid 6 to 8 months or so, trying to prepare and think about whether or not we want to continue the podcast and what direction we can go in and so on. So long story short, we have decided to keep doing it, and I have a basic outline and schedule that would last us till roughly September.
Right. Almost another year.
And that is just right now, which means for over the next couple months, if we think of new ideas, they'll be added on to it or fit in between. Some of these ideas, and again, we're not going to give away everything right now, but we're going to be talking, we still have more tie-ins to talk about. We're going to be talking about, Guarding the Globe, Invincible Universe.
Tech Jacket.
Capes. We've got more of those to talk about. And we're going to do those in a little bit different style. Instead of coming in here and going over every page and discussion, I want us to read the entire volumes, come in, and just talk about it. Just talk about it, and I want to break it down into 2 parts. The first part being spoiler-free. So if you haven't read it yet, you can hear our impressions and whether or not you should read it. The second part is going to be spoiler-filled, and we're going to talk about in detail the things we liked about it, didn't like about it, and our basic impressions and how it impacted the Invincible Universe. Other things we want to talk about, other episodes, are going to be we've already done a Rexplode and an Angstrom Levy episode. I want to do more character discussion episodes. I want to talk about Cecil. I want to talk about the Mahler twins and, Monster Girl, characters that have a big impact on the universe that have their story pieces spread throughout several issues, several different series even, and looking at them individually, kind of, isolated from the whole series and talking about their character arc on its own, which is a fun thing to do. On top of that, we've got other fun, just random episodes we want to talk about.
And there is nothing in our current schedule of ideas that includes, movie news.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? There is a movie coming out.
So if nothing was announced, we can get till at least September.
Right.
But if there's a book, if there's movie news, if there's video game news, TV show, anything, we're going to be able to talk about that.
There absolutely will be at least, I'd say maybe 2 announcements, be it book. Well, we know there's going to be a novel announcement.
Maybe.
Probably
it was just strongly teased.
Probably. If it's teased,
we'll see.
Come on.
I know.
Come on. There would have to be something at the end of Invincible to then keep the interest going for a novel.
I'd hope.
For the movie.
And that was something we talked about before, or, that maybe that's the delay. I think...
the novel?
No, maybe they're not ready for the announcement yet. Maybe they're waiting on something else. I was talking to somebody else about that.
They wanted to release. Oh, really? That's a smart.
Maybe.
That's a smart, because the delay does not make sense to me. If the script was done, Ottley got it, Cory got it at the same time.
But
presumably.
It's a lot of assumptions.
It's a big assumption. And you know what happens when you assume, right?
Yep.
You're usually right.
Yep.
Right.
Other little things, again, these are subject to change, but fun little things we want to talk about. The gore in Invincible, talking about some of our favorite goriest moments, what the gore means to this kind of series, like the relationships in Invincible, all the different love triangles, and exploring those. I also want to do a what if episode. We've been talking about this for a long time, and I've been waiting till the series ends because we might be able to say, what if this happened in the end instead? But throughout the entire series, what if this happened? What if Eve actually stayed dead? How would that affect the series? What if and so on? It's just kind of like what Reboot did a little bit of.
You're saying if she died in Conquest?
Yeah. But I'm just saying, that was just one off the top of my head. But I'd love to get people's feedback and come in. Like, we'll announce when we're going to be doing the what if. I want to hear some cool what ifs.
Yeah.
So either way, we've got a lot to still talk about. And we've said from the beginning, as long as there's Invincible related stuff to talk about, we're going to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And that's what we plan on doing. If at any point we are scrambling to try and find stuff to talk about, we'll end the podcast most likely, and move on if it gets to that point. But in the meantime, you're stuck with us. So you want to jump into our main topic, Bill?
The Cory Walker variant cover. So everyone pull out your Cory Walker cover.
There we go.
All right. Do you have number one?
Yeah.
Because obviously this is a variant of like number one.
Yeah.
Right? And is there? Okay. So the main thing that...
What was your first initial impressions? But right off the bat, you saw it, and what'd you think?
I thought... You want to know what I really thought?
Yeah.
There's no way that Tara would have the same haircut. Does she have the same haircut as she does now?
I don't know. I can't easily pull up something. It's similar though.
I don't know. I guess I thought. I thought, is this just a fun little thing, or is she gonna actually be? Is this gonna be the?
Or is this like a Gwenvincible kind of thing?
Is it like just a fun little thing, or is it just what I mean? Because it's the last issue, it's the last part. Like, is it gonna be?
Well, that's perfect. That's the first thing I want to talk about. Is this a misdirection? Is this just for fun? Like, do you think that's likely, or do you think that we are going to see her at that age wearing that costume in this comic?
You want my ideas?
I want to know what you think.
Originally, I thought it was a misdirection, and I think that it was just a fun little thing, like nostalgia to bring it back. This is full circle with Invincible and his daughter. But then TJ pointed out something in our text conversation that was not very in-depth in this, but he pointed out the shadow.
Yes.
Why would there be a shadow there? There wasn't a shadow of a character in the first one.
Yes, there is.
Oh, yeah, there is. Okay.
TJ was just saying, like,
it looks drastically different than that one.
Well, then I'm going to talk about the other thing I wanted to bring up about the shadow right now. So we always, talk about our friends over at the Nerds Chatting podcast. Remember, they do the daily Invincible cover over on Twitter. Well, Ben sent me a message and said, what does that look like? So he pointed out the fact that the shadow...
Oh my fucking God!
The shadow looks like it has ears.
God damn it!
Similar to Battle Beast. And he pulled up a picture of the Battle Beast.
Oh! Englishmen are so smart! I thought it looked like fucking Owlman from The Watchmen.
See, that's the thing. Okay, well, I think I like that theory a lot. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not going to get my hopes up, Ben.
God, now my hopes are fucking up.
Because that's pretty cool. I think the first time I saw it, it looked like horns or a helmet, you know what I mean? Like kind of like a Shredder helmet kind of thing where it's just kind of...
But from a shadow standpoint, there wouldn't be that much detail. Like, what would a shadow of Battle Beast look like?
No, I know. And they are kind of perfectly symmetrical, though. Like, wouldn't his ears be a little bit off? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Do you remember in one of the first things of Battle Beast, he had a helmet on? That was like, it narrowed out his face a little bit. That was
cool, yeah. I love that old Battle Beast costume. That was neat.
Holy shit. It could be, which would make sense because...
We know that it's going to be in this issue.
Right. So if Battle Beast had a son, he would be young.
Yeah.
Right? And it would take at least this amount of fucking time for him to be like a grown-up or enough to... Fuck! Fuck!
So the shadow on the cover of issue 1 is never like revealed to be anybody specific. I mean, maybe Titan.
Titan. I was thinking Titan.
Maybe
yeah.
Mauler. But it was never really necessary. Like, so I assumed the first time I saw it, like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe it's horns. Maybe it's a helmet. Maybe either way, it's not going to matter.
But I mean,
it'd be kind of cool if it was intentional.
I feel like it has to be. It's such an interesting design choice to be like, here's a shadow of a person, which you could just, when you think of a shadow of a person, but you think of a very generic shape. That is not generic. It's very distinctive.
But this cover has more detail than this one, than the issue 1 cover.
Yeah, but that doesn't, I mean, that's like, but that's giving a shadow a distinct shape. When I think of a shadow of a person, like you want to make it, so what you're trying to show in issue 1, the first of Invincible, not this variant, is that he's facing someone.
Yeah, it's just to
here's a generic shadow.
Yep.
This is she's facing someone who has that shaped head.
Yeah, it's very prominent. The fact that it's that, like, why not just make it the same shape that Invincible's fighting?
You know what makes me more mad?
What?
Is that he called it, and that he's right.
You think he's right?
I think that he's absolutely right.
Man, I don't want to get my hopes up.
How could we not think that Battle Beast? It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense because in the last thing he said, 2018 is going to be a good year for you Battle Beast fans. They're always talking about it. Like, it's going to make another thing. There's too much story. Not story, but there's too much to sum up in Invincible's current timeline to include something new.
Yeah.
But what a fun way to exit it by including a fan favorite with, like, I mean, this is the ultimate what if. You know what I mean? Now Terra's invincible and fucking Battle Beast is.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, I know.
Ugh.
Yep.
I don't like her goggles, though.
I dig them. I like it.
Because it's still like goggles, but it's like not.
Yeah. I don't think the goggles. I mean, all right. So over on Twitter, Joey Vasquez said, so they turned Cory Walker's Invincible concept into grown-up Terra. I love it. And in parentheses, he says, I'm just assuming that's what's happening. So, Bill, over some of Cory Walker's early concepts, like, he had drawn these back, like, the earliest one I found was 2007, where he drew Invincible.
And Adam Evil?
And, yeah.
As opposed
to... a lot of these are very similar to what it ended up being. If we're just looking through them now, you can find them over on Cory Walker's blog. But here's one of the newer ones that he did in 2012. But she has the goggles.
Right.
But they're more of those big sunglasses that some girls wear.
Look at who's that? That looks like Omni Girl.
He named her young
lady
Omni Man. How awesome is that?
Oh, that's funny.
So yeah, but knee pads are still there. He originally designed her with the knee pads, and did you notice that she doesn't have the fingerless gloves? It's full gloves, which I like. I feel like that suits her better.
So what's on the current cover?
So here's another one of her. So that's like the most recent one I see from him is 2014. So now looking back at the new cover, which I lost. Oh, there it is. So
she's got full gloves.
Full gloves, knee pads, all perfect. I like the sunglass look more than the goggles.
You know what's great too? And great job, Cory Walker, is that looks like Terra.
Doesn't
like,
it
even her face looks like
so
Terra.
So my first impressions were, it felt exactly like when we turned the page at the end of Reboot and you saw her older and she said, "Are you my daddy?" or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you were like, oh, like my girl's grown up. Like, it was so weird. Like, I saw it, I was like in shock.
Yeah.
Because it was instantly her. Instantly.
Not even not just because it was a black-haired girl with an Invincible suit on, but because it looks like Terra. Like her face looks like Terra. Which I think would be so hard to do as an artist. Like, how do you assume what someone is going to look like? Fucking 18 years, 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
That's tough.
I know. Yeah, but my first impression, I loved it. I thought it looked great. It was one of those things that I don't know how we didn't see it coming. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a cool idea for a concept. And in all of our theories for the final issue, we kept talking about where Marky's going to be maybe he's going to be a superhero, maybe he's going to be on Earth. I know TJ talked about maybe Tara staying on Earth with Eve, and something happening to Mark, and then Mark coming back and all that. But I never really considered Tara taking it up, and I don't know why.
Right.
Because
you thought it was Mark. Or Marky.
Or Marky
if anything,
or something.
Yeah.
Because that has been the focus of these last couple issues.
Right. Do you think that this fucks with the timeline at all?
How so?
With King Immortal?
No.
Because he didn't mention anything about Tara or a girl Invincible.
So over on Twitter, Digital Pizza says, I want to hear you guys' dream scenario for a follow-up series. Like, what roles do you want the older characters to play, or how would you want Marky to co-star or become an antagonist in the series, stuff like that. So let's just daydream for a second now. We're going to assume, again, right here, that what we're seeing on this cover is not misdirection. This is actually we're actually going to see Tara in that costume in the issue. If that's not the case, then everything we say now doesn't matter. We're just playing.
Nothing else makes sense for a double-sized issue, though, anymore now.
It makes so much sense. So I think, what if Ryan Ottley's issue ends, like what you said, Bill, almost on a downer, and something happens to Mark?
Okay.
He's gone. He's out of the picture.
Gone.
A definitive ending to Invincible.
Right.
His story ends. And then Cory Walker's issue is Tara. And now, do you picture her on Earth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not, though.
That's what I mean. This cover doesn't
what's the planet?
necessarily give anything else away. Telescria?
Telescria?
Yeah. I mean, the picture doesn't give that away. I mean, she doesn't have to be.
Just a brick street.
I think I'd like for her to be, though, you know?
Yeah, on Earth. Yeah.
Picture her on Earth. Right now, on that cover, maybe she has an earpiece in. Who's talking to her on the earpiece? Maybe it's Robot.
Oh, my God.
Like, imagine that alternate world. Like, it's almost like another dimension.
I don't... what you're doing right now is mean. What you're doing is mean to me.
I know, and I don't like doing it. I feel like it is mean. Like, I don't want to get people's hopes up. I don't.
What you're suggesting
fair.
is that the death of everyone wasn't the death of everyone. Reboot wasn't a reboot. And the end of all things.
Now, I'm not saying
the end of all things.
I'm not saying that because I don't necessarily believe that what I'm saying has to continue. I think that it would be amazing if Cory Walker's issue was Tara, maybe on Earth, maybe filling her father's role by paying homage to him, wearing his costume. Maybe she goes by Invincible, like Cory's been teasing all these years. Maybe she just keeps the name Invincible. Maybe it ends with, a beast stepping out of the shadows saying, blah, 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 I'm going to kick your ass. And then she says, I wouldn't do that, I'm Invincible.
What else?
And then it just ends. And then you, roll the book down, run outside and punch someone. It's just, it's so exciting.
First of all, she would not name herself Invincible. It would be, I'm Invincible.
I would love it if
that's how it would end.
Honestly, though, I'd be okay either way. I mean, I'd be fine either way. Because it's still cool.
I would like it way more if she just kept it
But now here's
Invincible.
The thing. If we want to dream further and say that maybe they do pick it up in another comic, they couldn't call the series Invincible.
Why?
Because Invincible is ending. It has a definitive ending. It's about him. But if she called herself Invincible, there could be a comic called Invincible.
I mean, I guess so, but you could technically say that we were just talking about Iron Man.
Yeah.
And how Riri took over. But they didn't call it. It's still called Iron Man.
But they didn't announce that Iron Man was ending. The series would end.
Right, but that's a typical Marvel thing. This is Robert Kirkman saying the end of all things, the death of everyone. You know what I mean? It could literally be just a continuation of the story. But I mean, it's in the future. Mark is gone. It's all new characters. People can make like Fuller House.
Oh my gosh!
You know
so where else do you see other characters? Where do you see Marky in this fictional world? You think he would be a villain? Because of his troubled upbringing that he's had?
Tara got to live her entire life with her true father and her true mother. Marky is a bastard son.
Her entire life. He missed her entire life, and then he died presumably in this scenario.
But you don't know how much future or how much time passes.
That's a good point.
In
Well, I'm
Ottley's.
assuming, in Ottley's maybe, yeah. That's a good point.
We're making a lot of assumptions
But that's what's
right now.
fun. That's what people like to listen to. This is fun to talk about.
But I feel like there have been other things, TV shows. I feel like Justice League did something like this, where their last episode was like a flash forward, what if kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Almost how this would be, but it's like
Batman Beyond.
Yeah, but Batman Beyond lasted for 4 seasons.
No, I know, but I mean, like, you seeing older characters make a return. Right. You've got, Bruce Wayne is still there. It's almost like the Immortal's still there. Like, he's still ruling. But somebody else.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, is how Justice League the cartoon ended, and the last 2 episodes was a crossover with Batman Beyond.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was like a time travel weird thing. But I don't know. I feel like other shows, it could be even other shows, ended with like the last episode being kind of its own individual story of here's what happened in the future, but we're not going to continue it.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because I want it to continue.
I know, and I think I honestly think that is the ending we're going to get. I think it is going to be Ottley's ending definitively ends Mark's story. Cory Walker's tells the future of the Grayson family bloodline, kind of thing, where it shows Tara being a badass, and then she flies towards a villain, and then you turn the page and it's done, and it ends, and you have your imagination to think of what happens in that world.
Like, my imagination sucks,
and it sucks. I know, but how exciting is that for an ending? It's not just Mark dies and you turn the book and it's like, all right, well, that's an ending.
It's really exciting. Yeah, it's hopeful. I guess it gives you a feeling of hope, because it's not.
But the fact that there's 2 issues could mean that there is tragedy in there.
There absolutely is.
Yeah.
This isn't fair. This isn't fair, because if it fucking ends Mark's story in tragedy, but then ends the second part in hope, that doesn't fucking count. I would win that shit, because
we'll see how that bet goes.
That's fucking bullshit.
Well, we'll see.
It's totally subjective. That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
We'll talk about that if and when it happens.
Garbage. So what you're saying is that it won't continue, that it's an end.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be another series. I think that Kirkman we will get an exciting, awesome look at Tara in costume with powers in a new, exciting world, like full of possibilities, that's going to kill us, and then they're going to end it. And it's going to be just there, right for the picking, for in 3 years when Kirkman wants to come back to it, or whoever else wants to come back to it. And if and when they do, if maybe even Cory Walker does it, maybe they do it, and I'd love it if it was just, here's a volume at a time. You know what I mean? Instead of issues
one shots,
like,
kind of
just one shots, like seeing what this world is like. Or now we have this clean slate with Tara as a hero in this new and exciting world that kind of connects to the past and past villains, but there's going to be new ones too. Maybe that'll be told in novel form.
Oh, yeah. But again, wouldn't you rather see that in comic book form?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd rather see it in movie form. I'd rather see it in TV show.
You could get a lot more story in a novel, which I get, But I don't know. I really see, and we're always wrong. We're 100% wrong. We should not have a podcast, because we're never right about anything. Ever. But I really, truly feel that this could continue. That I think...
I know.
Well, I mean,
Which is funny, because before seeing this variant cover, we were all like, it can end. Like, it'll be a good ending. Like, let's wrap this up.
It will end. It is ending.
Yeah. And now that all we've seen is this variant cover that could be complete bullshit, we're like...
Probably is
We're
bullshit.
like itching for new Invincible.
Which isn't that exciting, though?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Invincible, right now, no matter what anyone says, just because of how things progressed, has lost what made Invincible during its peak.
Well, because it's because they put end post there, and everything was leading to it.
Exactly,
And the majority of the excitement that came with Invincible was new ideas,
fun, there's no
mystery. And once we knew where things were going, like we've talked about several times, like Mark's plan. These few issues are going to be Mark's plan. Like, all right, they're going to go back to Earth. They're going to fight Thrag. They're going to fight Robot, and that's the end. And that's what we've had for the last year and a half.
But then you get this one picture of one person with like 4 colors on it that all of a sudden gives you this hope.
That's what every cover of Invincible used to be. Who is this green alien with a staff and horns?
Right.
Like, who's this electric guy?
So why would they release this cover, or why would they make this cover that gives you so much hope?
Because
for a continuation, it's fucked up.
If I'm going to play devil's advocate, it's because isn't that the way you want to go out?
Yes, Ryan.
You know, like, don't you want to?
It gives me a feeling of like I haven't even read. I'm giddy. I'm giddy with anticipation. That variant cover has given me more excitement about the last issue than anything else that I've looked at
since the ending was announced.
Since the ending was announced.
That's crazy.
And I don't know if it's for the hope that it will continue, or for like the fact that we're gonna see new things, you know, or I don't know what it is, but it just captures that old new issue of Invincible. Like, I don't know what the fuck. Who's this dinosaur guy?
And even though we have no idea what's gonna happen in the final issue before seeing this, we were like, okay, well, the way the last issue ended with, you know, them saying they're gonna stay on Earth, Marky's gonna stay on Earth, we kind of know, like, all right, well, like, where's this gonna go? Are they just? Is the final issue gonna start with a conversation? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And so we were kind of like, all right, well, this is exciting. This is really cool. And like we said, who knows what it actually means, or if it actually is real.
We were so mean just then.
I know,
like so mean,
pumping everybody up.
People believe us.
We make it very clear.
We're so wrong.
We make it very clear that we don't know what we're talking about, but it's fun to theorize and fun to talk about. The issue is 56 pages.
Which is double-sized, almost.
Which is a double-sized. They're advertising it as double-sized. Now, they advertised issue 100 and 142, which is, obviously, issue 100 was a big deal, and 142 was the Robot War. They advertised those as oversized issues. Those were around 30 each, from my math, from me quickly. I mean, I might be wrong. But remember, like, issue 100, a lot happens. Robot War felt a little bit longer. Felt, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. This is 56. That's significant.
That's a lot of pages.
Yeah, which is why it has the $5.99 price tag.
Which a regular comic is $3.99, right?
It's $3.99 now.
$3.99. That's like $2 more.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, it's exciting.
I got my heart. Like, I feel like my blood is like pumping in a very good way right now. I feel very happy. I don't want to be let down. But you know what? Even if it is like what we talked about, an end, it's not a continuation. It's not like, surprise, Invincible's going to continue, which would fucking make me die.
It won't happen.
But even if it ends with just a flash forward of Tara doing things as Invincible, and it ends with I'm invincible or something like that, I'm going to be very happy.
You just don't want this cover to be a lie.
I want to see. You
want to see her in costume.
You know what? That's when I'll be mad. I'll be mad
if she's not in costume.
Why would you make a variant? I know a variant's a variant. I know it's a fucking
all
variant.
The issue 100 variants had Mark
But then it goes back to the shadow, and what if that's Battle Beast? Because there's ears on it.
I know, that's why we do this. That's why we talk about this stuff, because it's fun to theorize. That's why we started this podcast, was because we like to actually theorizing it.
Right, and this whole conversation started with Ben suggesting it was Battle Beast. So, you know what? Don't get mad at us.
Get mad at Ben.
Get mad at Ben. And that's it.
Yeah. What was I going to talk about next? We've got a little bit of feedback on it. Jordan Gilbert sent us an email. He says, "Hello all. I don't have much to send you guys, but a couple realizations I've had the past couple weeks rereading the last issues. First off, if you really think about it, Anissa gave Mark his last moments with his father. Although Eve went to save Nolan without Anissa, Eve would have suffocated in space.
Or died.
Oh, wait, I think he means although Eve went to save Nolan without Anissa, Nolan would have suffocated in space.
Right, without Anissa being there, Nolan would have died.
Nolan would have died, yes, yeah. That made more sense, sorry. Which is true, like, because Anissa was there, that was her redemption moment. Mm-hmm. You know, Eve was able to save Nolan.
She allowed Eve to save Nolan to then have Mark be able to say goodbye to Nolan.
Which is why it was important that she died too, Anissa. At first, when I read this, I thought that Jordan was referring to the moment that Mark had with Nolan about Anissa. And they had that little moment too, which is one of the last conversations they have before they go out to fight as well.
No, yeah.
Jordan says it was nice give back for the trauma she caused him so long ago. Another thing, remember seeing back in the letters column of 132 was that Kirkman said we would find out how old Viltrumites can actually be. How old was Nolan? How old was Conquest? How old was Thrag and Nissa? I gotta know. I hope they play on this in an epilogue of some sort. I'm gonna pause right there for a second. We didn't talk about that at all. How could that play into the epilogue? You know, Mark wouldn't die of old age.
No, unless he died of the Scourge virus or something. This is exhausting. There's so many things that could happen, and now I just don't know.
I know.
Because I was so sure that the double-sized issue would be a continuation, like it would be one story, and it would just be there's a lot to tell.
See, I've always, and TJ did too, we've always assumed there was going to be an epilogue of some sort, but now that you've seen this image and you've opened up your mind...
And now I don't fucking know.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. Because it would have to be short. It would have to be short and sweet, whatever happens to Mark.
Well, it's 2 issues. Like, they're each doing a whole issue.
Right, but the second, presumably, does not have Mark in it. It's just about...
Again, that's assuming. Maybe Mark goes off to start the World Betterment Committee and Tara stays on Earth filling the shoes of Invincible on Earth, watching over. Maybe she's the assigned Viltrumite to Earth, just like they assigned to all the other ones.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There are other options. I don't think Mark has to die.
So, I'm not saying die. Oh, I did say that. But, but I like what you just said, that, like, Mark is still in the second half of the issue.
But he's not the main character in it.
Yeah, and what if the last page or the last 2 pages is him assigning Viltrumites to go to different planets to be the Betterment Committee, and
I disagree. I think that would
Tara...
be... I would think that would be... Oh, you mean the last page of Ottley's?
No, the last page of the... No,
because I want to see her in costume fighting.
You will, even the last 2 pages.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So I think a few pages, the last...
What I'm saying is that Mark can still be what I think, and that it will just be a big, long issue... Mm-hmm. No huge time jumps or anything like that.
Well, there's definitely going to be a jump. I mean, yeah. I think the time jump's going to be between Ottley and Walker.
I can't think about this anymore.
I know.
It's emotionally draining. Like, it's just too much to think about. Luckily, we have another 3 weeks.
Almost 4.
To ponder. 4 weeks.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Sorry, and then Jordan finished off by saying, I've also decided to start my 144 finale at 127 instead of 133. After rereading, I'm on 133 now. It's an amazing build-up. But last but not least, yeah, and we talked about that. How rereading it, and now you have more time, Bill. Definitely reread the end of all things. Like
starting with Cory Walker. Is that what he's saying?
I think that's what he's saying, yeah. 27,
like starting before Oliver died.
Yeah.
Like with...
Well, the beginning, he's basically saying right after reboot.
Yeah.
Start after reboot and make that your thing.
Yeah, because that's
when we assumed that they knew the end was coming. So everything from that point on was in Kirkman's head going towards one point.
That's when Ursula and Anand are introduced.
I keep forgetting about characters. Where's Ursula going to be in the future? Like, is she just going to be... We talked about that, like maybe the right hand or something.
She is going to be married to Mark. After Eve dies. Why not? They're not related. Everyone thinks for some reason they're related.
No, I don't.
Remember, TJ did. He said he was like, wait, aren't they brother and sister? But
maybe.
Why can't her and Mark be a thing? Why not?
Because of Eve.
Eve will die. Maybe. Eve will absolutely die unless she can reboot herself after she dies.
But think about it. How old is Tara on the cover of that issue?
I don't know, man.
I know, but
20
ballpark, maybe 20s.
18,
so how
19?
old would Eve be? It's not like she's too old at that point.
40.
That's what I mean.
40,
so we can't go the age route where the Viltrumites age on and she dies. So she'd have to be killed.
Well, we also don't know. We don't know how fast they age.
Mark
after they get their powers, but he didn't get his powers until he was a teen, so he was still technically a human-ish
That's interesting.
Like
That's an interesting fact.
We don't know the science behind it. Do they slow down aging, or do they stop aging when they reach a certain, or do they slow down aging
when they get their powers?
When they reach adulthood.
That's interesting.
I mean? Like, do they age normal, and then as soon as they hit 18 or 19 years old, they slow down to a crawl? So, I mean, you could assume
there's something
Nolan,
that we're missing.
You could assume Nolan is like maybe 400 years old. You know what I mean? But he only started to age really in the past like 300 years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
So Mark would still be in his, early 20s.
He would. I mean, okay,
even though he should be almost 30 now or so.
Right.
Which is maybe no. I was gonna
say, I don't think
after it was high school when he got his powers. So maybe he's still almost high school age, which would explain why he can't grow a mustache.
So nice. So think of this. What if in the future Eve is 40-ish, has some like grayish hair, you know what I mean? But Mark still looks exactly the same.
Oh my God! If Eve doesn't die, we're gonna see older Eve too.
Right, we're gonna see old Eve, but young Mark or normal Mark. That would be a nice way of showing like.
That'd be kind of cool. Is Marky going to look exactly like Mark? If we see an older Marky,
he might.
It's gonna be so similar looking.
Yeah, I guess. How would they make? No. I don't know.
And then the Coalition. What's Alan gonna be doing?
Alan's gonna backstab.
So is Tara going to be against the Coalition?
Dude, this is what I'm talking about right now.
We still have Jordan's final...
okay, yeah.
So Jordan said that, and then he said, last but not least, I'm digging that variant by Walker. Tara looks awesome. But is it weird that I don't want the story to end that way? I don't know. I'm an odd person. So bittersweet to have the last issue delayed twice. Cheers, guys, and thanks for taking the time to read and discuss this. Love, Jordan. Yeah, it wouldn't be the last issue of Invincible if there wasn't a delay.
And also you said, is it weird that you don't want the story to end that way? As in with Tara being the highlight? No, it's not weird because it's Invincible and you want to see Mark. But I think what we talked about is that it gives you so much hope. Like,
and not
it
just that,
ends
but
on such a hopeful, new, fresh ending that doesn't make the end feel so bad.
And I think, Jordan, what you're going to get, I think we're going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to get your ending at the end of Ottley's story, in my opinion. That's my theory. I think we're going to get an end to Invincible with Ottley's.
But he wants the last thing that he looks at of Invincible to be something with Mark.
Yeah.
Which I completely understand. And
maybe it still will.
But you know what? But I was right there with him. I felt the same way. Like, how they can't be someone else's story other than Mark's. This is Mark's story. But after seeing that cover, like, it changed me.
Changed
it really did, though. It's so weird that it gave me such a hopeful kind of feeling for something new and fresh, even if it was only one issue's length of that feeling.
Yeah.
I think that is a hell of a way to end the comic.
I agree.
It doesn't feel like an end, but it is.
I agree.
You know, it doesn't feel downtrodden and like, oh, this is the last thing I'm gonna. It's like, this is the last thing I'm gonna get,
and it's cool. And it's cool. And it would be cool to not for the series to end and it not to continue, and us to just be able to wonder and theorize what could have come next. Like, to sit back and go,
oh, right? Mm-hmm. To just like look up, like you're reading it on a front porch, like at a farm, and you put it down, and you just kind of like look up and go, oh. And then your imagination just
and then it's nighttime. So that pretty much wraps it up. I don't think, is there anything else you wanted to touch on, Bill?
No.
I mean, we've covered just about all the Invincible related stuff. If you want to take a couple minutes, have you seen anything, played anything, read anything?
I feel like I've seen something in the last week or so. Mm-hmm. Maybe not the.
I know you've been watching Black Mirror.
Yeah, and
I mean, overall, are you impressed with it? Because I know you had heard a lot, and you weren't sure whether or not you'd like it. Mm-hmm. And
I don't think that Black Mirror has the same type of like, oh my god, you need to watch it as like Stranger Things does.
Okay.
Or other. I'm impressed with the production value and with the overall acting and stuff. But we were talking about it earlier. That just feels kind of samey, and I've only seen 3 total episodes.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, people specifically told you which episodes to watch, knowing that you'd like certain episodes. That was my phone, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Knowing that you'd like certain types of episodes. So obviously everybody's like, hey, watch these VR episodes or video game themed episodes. It's like, well, obviously they're going to feel a little samey.
Right.
But I'm excited to see what you think of the other ones. Like right now, like the very first episode of the very first season has nothing to do with any of that.
And it sounds like...
It's completely different.
It sounds like, what's that movie? The Purge?
Oh.
Does it? No?
No.
No, not really?
No.
Okay.
Not exactly, but yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely something that I'm surprised that I have not watched. Mm-hmm. You know, but in terms of what have you?
I finished South Park: Stick of Truth.
The first one.
Yep,
right?
I had never played it. I beat it in like 2 weeks,
and
I loved it. It was a very very easy, fun, simple, fast RPG.
Coming from someone who does not really watch South Park, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got maybe 50 to 75% of the references, and the ones that I didn't get, I can get enough. You know what I mean? Like if I open one of the kids' closets and see all the different knickknacks, I'm like, okay, I assume those are from an episode. I've never seen Mr. Hanky, the poop.
Yeah.
I've never seen him in an episode before, but I've seen him just across whatever.
Right.
I've heard it. I know. So, I mean, I got enough of that. As someone who has played a handful of JRPGs, Final Fantasies, Personas and whatnot.
Is that
it was
Persona 4? Is that the one that you were playing that you were like, holy shit, this is good?
Yeah.
Okay.
When it comes to playing a game like South Park, it was a little lacking in terms of skill that you need. You know what I mean? Most of the time I would just do the same thing over and over. Mm-hmm. Like I would just attack. You know what I mean?
Redundant a little bit?
I didn't have to deal with enemies being weak to certain things. Like they had that kind of stuff in the game, but you didn't need it. They had like lightning attacks and weak to lightning or weak to shock or weak to fire, but you didn't need to do it, you know? And I didn't grind. I didn't need to do any of that kind of stuff, which was both good and bad. Good because it was a fun, easy game to just plow through, and I enjoyed it, and I don't feel like playing a 150-hour game right now. But bad in the sense that why do they even have it in the game? And it made me want to use it. I feel bad for not using those kind of games. I didn't use the summons at all. There was 4 different summons. I waited till the end of the game, and I'm like, I should probably try these to see what they were like. You know what I mean? Like,
you're referring to like Final Fantasy, like the Guardian Force or whatever like that, the GFs and stuff like that.
But in South Park, there are summons. So, and I didn't even do it. Did you play it?
No.
Oh.
Stick of Truth?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
I think you'd enjoy it. It was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, and you had played Final Fantasies and stuff in the past.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I think you'd like it. And you actually watched South Park.
Well, actually, I not just in the past, but I mean, I played it this year. Sorry, 2017. Yeah. I played and beat Final Fantasy 15, the newest one.
You did?
Yeah.
Why did we not talk about this?
Did you play it?
No.
Oh,
but
I did not like it.
I'm just surprised you even played it. That doesn't seem like a Bill game to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I like Final Fantasy.
Huh.
Final Fantasy 8 is one of my fucking all-time favorite games of all time.
Pre-Final Fantasy 10 is different than post-Final Fantasy 10. But that's what I mean. After Final Fantasy 10, they're a different kind of Final Fantasy, and I never knew you to play a modern one. That's interesting.
I think I was just more interested in that one just because I don't know why I never played 13.
Yeah. Or 12. And then 14 is an online one.
Okay.
So yeah.
That would explain why I was like, where's 14?
The fact that you played through all of 15 and actually did like the older ones, I'm going to give you Persona 4. You're going to have to play it sometime.
Do you have a hard copy of it for your Vita?
Yeah.
Because I was going to buy it on Vita last night.
I'll give it to you tonight.
Sweet.
Cool.
But okay, so I was playing SteamWorld Dig 2.
Dig.
And I beat it, and it's fucking so good.
Really?
It's so...
Does it give you the same feeling as the first one?
Better.
Really?
Dude, I went back and I started playing SteamWorld 1 again. Not as good as the second one in every way. In every way, shape. This one is so RPG-ish and has like so many upgrades and stuff like that you can do, like powering up. To the point to where when I would close my eyes at night to go to sleep,
you'd see it.
I would see square blocks of rock with jewels in them.
That's so funny.
Remember that exciting feeling of like, oh fuck, there's one, I gotta go get it.
It's like the first time you play Guitar Hero. You know what I mean? You play it all night.
Oh my god!
And
then you close your eyes and you see the lines with all the
you see tracks and dots.
Yeah, but SteamWorld Dig, I think right now it's $19.99.
No, I think it is $15 right now.
It's $14.99.
Yeah,
right now.
I think so.
Dude, it's totally worth it, man.
Maybe I'll
play on your Vita just to have something to play on your Vita.
Oh, did you play it on Vita?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a perfect game for that.
I can't play it. I can't imagine playing SteamWorld on a big TV.
Cool. All right. No, I like that. I'm going to because we're going to Disney next month. I've been playing a little bit.
Oh, there you go.
Been playing a little bit of Kingdom Hearts, but I'm also going to be picking up the second South Park next, I think. But other than that, comic book wise, X-Men Grand Design, I only read the first issue so far, is a ton of fun. It's one guy, Ed Piskor, who's doing the...
Holy shit, that looks like 90s.
Yeah, it's supposed to. It's he's retelling, like, I think the first 40 years of the X-Men or something like that in, like, 6 issues. Everything that's happened. And it's drawn by him, inked, colored, everything. He's doing the entire thing by himself.
It looks
and it's
hard.
It's really cool, though. It has that look to it, but it's modern. It's really fun.
I mean, I get it. And I think that it's cool for people
who
like Silver Age comics, because that's what this... Oh, no, this would be Golden Age.
But that's the thing. I wasn't reading comics back then.
That's what I'm saying.
It's cool to read it, to be able to digest it easily in one thing like this. So I'm going to be reading these because it's
Have you read this whole thing, though?
Yeah, the first issue I did.
And was it difficult to get through with
Not
the way
at all.
that it looks?
No.
Really?
You get used to it right away. And it was really cool.
Oh.
But again, I like the X-Men a lot.
Yeah.
Batman White Knight is still really good.
I have to read it.
You do. Have you been reading Walking Dead?
I
haven't.
I mean, neither have I.
Okay.
Not since the last thing that we read together.
That big thing that happened, we both put it aside and decided that we want to read it like in trade form almost.
Right.
You know, I mean, like let them pile up. Mm-hmm. I've been hearing some shit. Apparently it's the best it's ever been almost.
I read that too, because IGN released, it was a cover of like all the guys in like white, like fucking like white army suits. They look like stormtroopers almost.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, that one. So
apparently this is the issue that...
So I saw this cover, which is a cover of 175, and it looks like stormtroopers, and The Walking Dead, it says it's New World, 1 of 6, the New World Order, 1 of 6. And The Walking Dead is in the middle, like the title is in the middle of the page, which just seems weird. But I looked at it, and on IGN, sometimes they just show like the headline, like in the headline it's just a picture of what it is. I'm like, that looks like The Walking Dead, but what is that? And then I clicked it, and it was the review for this issue, and I was like, oh, shit. Mm-hmm. But I scrolled down, like what I do, and it said the headline was like the best it's ever been. I think it was like a 9.6 out of 10.
Yeah.
So...
That's really exciting. So I'm going to be catching up on Walking Dead, I think, this week.
And I'm going to look at the first page.
Don't flip through.
Okay. So I know who is in it already.
Movie-wise, we watched It, which I still find myself thinking about. It was a very good movie. Mm-hmm. I did like that a lot.
We watched it. TJ and I had seen it twice, and then we watched it with you for the first time.
Blade Runner came out on Blu-ray.
Did you watch it again?
And thinking about it, no, I didn't watch it again yet. Oh. It is, I'm pretty sure it's my movie of 2017. I think it was the best movie I saw all of last year. I can't wait to watch it again. How was the second viewing?
I can't think of a better movie that I saw last year.
Yeah.
What were other good movies in 2017 that we've seen?
Oh, no, you're putting me on the spot.
Like there was like the Guardians and Spider-Man.
There's a lot of Spider-Man. There's a lot of superhero movies.
Yeah.
Katie and I actually really loved a movie called Loving Vincent. Really obscure. Mm-hmm. Not going to be for most people that are listening to this right now, but it's a movie about Vincent van Gogh, and
is that what that Blu-ray is?
Yeah,
on there?
out there,
okay, all right.
On the table. So it's about the death of Vincent van Gogh, and it's animated, but not cartoon. It's animated in oil paint, the way he would paint. So the entire movie, each frame, is another oil painting or an addition to an oil paint. And they would paint. They had like hundreds of painters painting this movie. It's the first time they've ever done a movie like this. I'll have to show you the trailer later. It's really out there, but it was really, really good. Like it's actually really. It was nominated for Best Animated at the Golden Globes.
Wow.
Which means, I mean, it would be Best Picture, but it's Best Animated. Mm-hmm. So it was up against like Coco and stuff.
I have not seen a lot of the Oscar movies yet.
No, neither have I.
Yeah.
Katie and I got a movie pass for Christmas, so if they do that thing where they release them all back in theaters beforehand, we might try and go see a bunch.
Yeah. But to my earlier point, no other movie last year had me thinking as much as Blade Runner did.
I know.
And not a confusing way like The Fountain, like what the fuck was that about? Mm-hmm. But in a way that's like very just, there was nothing confusing about it. but there was just so much to talk about, you know? And watching it the second time, I fucking love that movie.
But even just thinking about
No. The third time.
Yeah,
because we saw it twice in theaters.
Yeah.
So the third, dude, like...
But even just thinking about it, like, just from the very beginning, Batista in the beginning is just such a good scene.
Yeah.
You think about each scene, and we've talked about it before, there's only one scene, you know, 2/3 of the way in that feels like it's a little too long and drones on a little too long, but...
Everyone will know what we're talking about.
Yeah, but other than that, it's a near perfect movie.
I would say...
I love it.
Yeah, if they just cut like 5 minutes out of that one scene, it would have been great. It would have been the perfect movie. But here's the thing: if you haven't seen it, struggle through the first one.
Which to some people is blasphemy because they think that movie is perfect.
It's garbage.
I don't like saying it's garbage, but it's just not for me. It's not for me.
But I just don't. I think that it's aged very poorly.
Okay, I'll give it that because a lot of people that I think love it either grew up with it or have a different appreciation for movie cinema. You know what I mean?
But it's just that era of movie almost where certain things were forgivable, like check out these graphics, check out these special effects. For literally 45 minutes of the movie is just fucking special effects, like scenes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like scenic scenes. I mean, you could cut down the first Blade Runner down to 40 minutes. And that's it. But there are things in it that make you appreciate.
But the way they did it was brilliant. They didn't just say like, "Hey, there's that building." Like the way it was shot, it was like this. It was like someone who loved the first movie and was passionate about the cinematography of the first movie, wanted to pay homage to it in certain angles and lighting and the way subtly, and it's brilliant. It's so smart.
Yep. So, and Ryan Gosling is fucking awesome in that movie.
Yep.
He is so... Oh, dude, I want to watch it again now. Just talking,
like
thinking about all the little things. Joy. Like everything with Joy. Oh, man.
I know. It's great.
Yep.
We should probably wrap it up there. This might be a shorter episode, but that's okay. It was a little last minute throwing this together, and thank God that final issue cover was revealed today.
Otherwise, it would be literally...
Because this morning we were like, we don't know what we're going to talk about because TJ wasn't able to record, and we were going to do Super Fight, but... in 2 weeks, we're going to be back with a fun episode. We just want to hang out, similar to this, but we're going to play Super Fight, Invincible style. And remember, if you want to be a part of the show, write in. Give us your final thoughts before reading the final issue. We love to hear them, and we're going to talk about them on the next episode. You can email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, and you can find us on Twitter. I think that does it, though. Thanks for... hyping up the final issue to extraordinary levels with me today, Bill. This was fun.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how many people we've swayed over to thinking that it's either going to continue or end. I think that surprisingly it reignited a lot of passion.
At the very least, even if this cover is just a red herring, if it is misdirection, if it's not going to happen, at the very least, what it did prove to us that Invincible can still surprise us. So maybe if it's not that, it'll surprise us some other way in the final issue.
Wow, that was
beautiful.
That was Ryan's final thoughts.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
Bye. shoots ropes out, and then he climbs up the ropes.